Okay, so anything you say, can and will, okay. So
Can we plead
I'm-
the fifth?
Oh, don't go there.
So I'm Anthony Michaels. I am the president of the co-op for now. And I have been living here with Victoria Cone Michaels, who's in another square, because it just works out better that way. And we've been living here since 2020. And we have a daughter who does not live here any longer, but who was raised here, whose name is Isabel. And I'm a business journalist, and
Oh, there they are. Yeah.
and I'm gonna let other people introduce themselves before you guys tell us about you. So I'll go in order. Well, I'll pass it to my wife.
Okay, hi, I'm Victoria. I'm the power behind the throne. And it's hard to sum up, as you guys probably know, when you freelance and you do a lot of different things and, to try to sum everything up. But basically, I've been a reporter and a photo editor over the years for a lot of the Time Inc. magazines, which are now no longer Time Inc. magazines because they got sold, and also for the New York Times. And now I am working on a book of poems, and I just got 2 poems accepted by Hanging Loose, and I have a chapbook, so I'm excited about that. And yeah, I think that's we left Manhattan to come to Brooklyn, and 20 years ago, and it was a great choice. And I'll pass to Joel and Susan.
Okay. I'll begin. I should say before I say anything else that I'm quite sick at the moment.
Oh no.
I have some kind of infection, and it's not COVID as far as I can tell. I had the first, whatever they call it. What's that first test called?
The rapid test.
The rapid test that was negative, and the results of the second one will be coming in tomorrow. Susan and I have both been sick for about 10 days or more.
I'm better.
She's better.
Oh no.
I'm quite exhausted, and just brain dead. So that's my situation. Now, I am a writer and a translator of German literature into English. And a book of mine, a novel, was published recently. The title is The Stone World. And that's as much as I need to say. Okay.
It's
Well-
a great novel.
Thank you.
It is indeed. We've been here for 30 odd years. And we're very happy here. We hope to continue being happy, certainly as soon as Joel is all better. I'm a retired paralegal and a supporter of the arts.
Meaning me.
And other people as well,
Yes,
including Victoria.
of course.
We have a daughter who lives in California, who has 2 kids, and they're in LA. So when we're well and our cat is well, we also have an old cat. We're old and our cat is old. And he hasn't been well. It's been a difficult time. We will go to LA for a visit. So that's
Mhm. And I'm the secretary.
right.
Okay.
For 30 odd years, Joel's been secretary. So-
Okay, Theo, you're up.
Thank you. I'm Theo David. David is the last name. I keep on saying that because you have no idea what trouble I have with people accepting, including computers. I was once corrected by computer saying this cannot be your last name. You know, seriously, in writing, you must have made an error. Please fill in again. Anyway, but first of all, I want to back up and say Joel is being much too modest. Joel Agee is an extraordinary writer and a wonderful mind, and we are very lucky to have Joel and Susan as part of our co-op, if you will, community. And I think, I know I'm the oldest, not in age, or maybe I am in age also, but I bought our place in 1984. So I am the oldest resident, owner, whatever you want to call it. It's been great. I've raised 2 children here with, of course, with my former wife, who have dual citizenship. I spent some of my time in the Republic of Cyprus, where my family is from, and my children were born, and so on and so forth, although they also identify as New Yorkers, very much so. But they live over there with my Russian son-in-law, and they're great. Melissa, I'm proud to say, well, first of all, my son-in-law is in IT and all that kind of stuff, and he's really quite bright. Went to Maastricht University. Melissa graduated summa cum laude, allow me to be boastful, from Amherst College, but is doing a fabulous job of raising my grandchildren, of which I have 2, who are getting taller and taller. And should you guys join us, chances are you'll see them in the hopefully not too distant future when they visit New York. I am an architect educator, former chairman at Pratt Institute, and currently chair of the faculty, of the senior faculty, and of course also a practicing architect here in New York City, and also in overseas, in Nicosia, Cyprus. And that's really, I mean, enough, you know, I love to entertain, and I look forward, you know, and I'm lucky to have the apartment that I have here in our building, okay? And I look forward to an opportunity to entertain everybody again, okay? Including.
All right, we look forward to that too. And now we go.
Absolutely, you can put that on the record, Anthony.
All
Absolutely.
right, it's on the record. And now we're going to go to
Okay,
Saratoga.
thank
New
you.
York.
Next.
John,
John and Leslie Cashin, we are owners just 1 year shy of Theo's tenure. We acquired our apartment in 1985, and we are more or less transient owners today, I'm afraid to say. Although I grew up in Brooklyn, we have a home in Saratoga Springs and a condo in Fort Lauderdale, and so we don't spend a lot of time in Brooklyn. We have had our son who resided there for several years while we lived abroad, and our granddaughter actually resided there most recently for several years. But we have a continuing interest and a great deal of commitment to Brooklyn. And post-COVID, we expect to rejuvenate our activities and residence in Park Slope.
and let's see, the newest residents here, owners, shareholders, Jason and Hannah.
Hello.
Hi.
We don't have many years to tell you about living in this building. We moved here on December 29th of 2021. So we just got here right before our daughter was born. We have a 6-month-old daughter. My favorite part of your application is that your daughter was born on Valentine's Day and ours was born on February 13th.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
And we thought she was going to be born on Valentine's Day. but my labor ended up being much shorter than everyone expected. So here she was. And so she's 6 months old. I am a lawyer. I work at the NBA, working on player side things. Do you want to say what you do?
I'm an editor at Sports Illustrated, which is one of those former Time Inc. magazines. So.
And what else? We moved here from the Upper West Side. Just wanted to raise kids in Brooklyn, not Manhattan, and buy a place.
We needed to be able to work in different rooms when Hannah went to the NBA.
Right. Yeah, we have to put up a wall between us because he breaks my news. And that's about it. We live in the other second floor apartment. We live in 2R.
Cool.
And let's see, I think we've gone through everyone, right? So far, we are missing the owner of 2 of the apartments, whose name is John Scagnelli, whose father converted the building, I believe. Others can correct me on the dates, but John Scagnelli is in New Jersey. We have 2 residents here, as you probably know, who rent, one on the 3rd floor, one on the 4th floor. They're longtime residents of the building, and they are both single women and very quiet. And so it's a nice, calm building. And we've had, a couple of sales in the last year and a half. But other than that, a lot of stability, as you can hear. And, for us, getting used to the co-op on a personal level has been extremely easy because everyone is very affable and helpful and knowledgeable. The side of it, and I would like you guys just to introduce yourselves, but also then sort of address, what you think it's going to be like going from being renters to being cooperators, and what that means in terms of what you can now probably ask the owner to do or the super to do. That's, we don't have a managing agent. We don't have a super. We have a guy that does some cleaning, but it's a lot of everyone does their part. So that's my short intro for you guys. So tell us about you and why you want to join us.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Emily Spivak. You all at this point probably know more about me than I know about myself. But I'm a writer, an editor, an artist, and a producer. Most recently, I turned a couple of my books into a Netflix TV show that I produced. That came out about a year ago. And now I'm actually working on a documentary about one of the subjects from the series. And I have lived in New York for, I don't know, almost 20 years, 18 years. I've lived in Brooklyn for 13 plus years in the same apartment. And have rented right around the corner on 5th Avenue between 2nd and 3rd. So it's really, feels like the neighborhood feels like home. And we, as you know, have a daughter, 2.5 years old. Her name is Koffler. She's named after my my grandmother, Pearl Koffler, but we call her Coffee, like the drink. So, that's that's a little bit about me. I guess grew up in Delaware, have been in New York for almost 2 decades. So
I'm Ian Chillog. I'm a producer and a writer as well. Most of my work is with audio, with podcasts, and done a lot of work with public radio. I produced the show Wait, Don't Tell Me on NPR. I've done reporting for Marketplace and Morning Edition. And then I also do some commercial audio work and independently produce one show now and then another show that's going to launch in a couple months. And I guess I moved to Brooklyn in the very end of 2016. I came from Chicago, and yeah, it very quickly felt like home.
And so, yeah, so why do you guys want to uproot a whole block or 2 blocks?
We want to change. We love everything about our lives, and we want to change as little as possible. But we would like to change where we live, the apartment. Yeah, I think we just, we feel committed to the neighborhood and want to, and being part of a co-op versus renting feels a little more rooted. We also will be happy to have more space. That's a part of it too. Yeah, I think, our dream was to be able to move as few feet away as possible. And this is a place that makes that possible.
And like Ian said, I mean, when we, moving into the apartment that we're renting, and now there were 2 of us, and then there were 3 of us.
Yeah.
Now there are 3 of us. And, I think that there's a desire for more stability as well when you have a child. So, and I think that we're, in a place in our lives where that makes sense.
Right. And, like I was when I was maybe your age, or I don't know how old I was when I joined this building, I was quickly made president and plunged right into it. So what's your level of interest, enthusiasm to take on responsibility to help this building function and run? And when things break in a building that was built in 1900, as they do, things come up, and it's not always in this building clearly delineated who does what. So initiative is prized, and collaboration is necessary. So how do you think you would do in that environment?
I mean, I think we feel good about that, and that's our expectation. When I lived in Chicago, I owned a condo there, and it was self-managed, and it was also, a lot of the lines weren't clear who was going to do what, and we would collaborate to work it out. And it worked very well, and I was very comfortable with that. Yeah, I think we have the same expectation for this building.
And I think, there's a vested interest in wanting this space, not only your small apartment, but everything in the building to feel okay and feel good and feel safe and feel comfortable. And so I feel like it makes sense to want to participate and contribute.
And I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'll let other people ask. Do you both work at home?
It's a mix. I have a studio in Dumbo where I go to do all of my recording and a lot of my writing. Generally, I'll be there 2 or 3 days a week, and at home a couple days. And then Emily is also.
I mean, I'm at home, and then like I'm shooting a documentary right now. So I'm, our subject is in New Jersey. So I spend a lot of time in New Jersey shooting. And the people I'm collaborating with are in Philadelphia. So, I'll be there sometimes. So yeah, it's a mix.
And so do you have childcare, or would someone be coming into the building every day, every other day?
Our daughter actually goes to daycare, to school at Regina's, which is on 5th Street between 4th and 5th. So she goes 5 days a week. And so we take her, she's there pretty much 8:30 to 4:30, 5 days a week. So we're on that kind of schedule.
Okay, I'm going to pass the baton to whoever has a question.
This is John Cashin, and I have a question. Your predecessors in ownership, Jamie served as our treasurer for, I can't recall how many years, and he was terrific in his diligence in managing the affairs, the financial affairs of our cooperative corporation. And I'm just wondering, how comfortable you might be in assuming those responsibilities. As anyone else in the organization, it's a challenge for us to keep our financial affairs in order, and we need someone to step into that responsibility at some point, and it's something the cooperative needs to address. So I'd just like to throw that out, and if anyone else wants to comment, and I see Victoria shaking her head.
Sorry.
If Victoria wants to step up, that'd be fine. But I just need to assure our cooperative organization that we have some continuity with regard to our financial affairs.
I guess just quickly, I will say that I think that that's actually a subject for a later meeting. And it's something that, James also needs to be a part of. So I don't think it's actually, I think that's a huge thing to be asking applicants for their apartment to, would you suddenly take on the responsibility of the treasury? I think it's also something that just needs to be discussed by the whole co-op. And I don't think just because James lived in that apartment that the people who now might live in that apartment would take over those responsibilities. It is a really, really, huge thing. I don't think any of us maybe realized how much James was doing and how indebted we are to him. And the only thing that we did was to add me as a co-signer so that, bills can actually be paid for the building, but that doesn't mean that, I am the treasurer either. So I think that is just separate from what we're doing right here.
Well, I think though it's fair for John to ask, hypothetically, if we said, we need you to be treasurer, what would you say?
Honestly, I think there would be a learning curve for either of us to take on a position like that. But we are expecting to contribute.
If I may, just kind of add to this subject, I am the managing agent, of the building, and I am constantly putting under James' door various forms that are sent to me as quote unquote managing agents from the Department of Buildings, name it, okay, which he has beautifully been able to respond to, over the years. So I do want to mention that there's another responsibility, okay, that is shared. But in this instance, James, really, since it involves a lot of paperwork and it involves writing a check for this or for that, he has been doing beautifully. And someone, of course, maybe it's more than one person, I don't know, needs to kind of sort of pick that up in the future. I have another, Anthony, if I may, another question.
Yeah, fire away.
By the way, I am very impressed, having gone online and what you guys are doing, and it's just really incredible. Okay, the mix of creativity, which is, I can understand very well. My son is a professional musician, and of course I also have been a musician in the past. But anyway, that's really great. More pragmatic question: do you foresee making any major revisions in the apartment?
I think our feeling right now is that there's nothing major. We want to do some painting and some minor cosmetic updates, I think, to the bathroom and to the kitchen at some point. But I think that, we would obviously, whatever we would be doing, we'd want to, make sure that it's in line with what everyone else does. But just, some minor stuff probably at some point.
So that's, of course, that's understandable. Okay, so you don't see making any major changes or construction or anything like that at this stage?
No, I mean, I think we're both very attracted to the original proportions of the unit. Yeah, and it would just be updating things.
No basketball court or anything like that, right? Okay.
Skate ramp.
Scary.
Any other questions, Theo, since you're,
No, just by the way, just a full disclosure, one of the people I recommended you is Mark Kushner, who I believe I ran into many, many years ago at Pratt. You know, as I told you, I teach at Pratt, and I think Mark has passed through there, as did many others at some point. I'm just throwing that out there so that it rang a positive bell, let me put it this way, as one of the people that recommended you. Yeah. No, I don't have anything else for the time being, no.
the AGs, have you any pressing financial questions or morality questions or?
Question. I hope you're really.
That's another separate meeting, Mike, with Anthony.
That was the first thing on my mind, Anthony. What are people's morals?
Well, in any case, do you have any questions?
Not really. You got very nice references from people in your life, and you sound like people that would fit into this bizarre group here. And we do all pretty much get along. Every once in a while there's a little blip, but you know, so
that shows that we're human.
that is true. No, I don't have any serious questions really. And
No, no.
I wish you both well, and
Yeah, I'd say the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, by the way, very quickly, as you know, are you comfortable with the fact that we do not allow dogs?
Yeah.
Is that okay with you?
We take care of one living thing, and she's a 2-year-old, and we have no plans to acquire any others.
we have a cat, but he's very old, so we're not quite sure what the future holds.
Yeah.
So other than that, yeah.
John, did you have other questions?
Jason?
No, I don't have any other questions. You know, with regard to the applicants, I think we're all prepared to, I want to speak for myself, but I think we're all prepared to welcome them to the building. And I hope that they will contribute, as all of us have over the history of our residency. And I look forward to meeting them in the future.
Here, here. I look forward to meeting them. I feel very strongly about this. Maybe I'm a little bit old school in person. We all need Zoom, let me put it this way, but you know, I'm a face-to-face person. So we look forward to that.
Victoria, before I pass it to Hannah and Jason, because they're, you know, junior members, they have to go last. I'm sorry, but no. Victoria, do you have questions?
I do, but I have my weird question that I asked Hannah and Jason. So I'm gonna let them ask their if they have any questions.
I'm upset that I don't remember what the weird question is.
How
I don't think-
much weed do you smoke? Was the question.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I did.
I guess I didn't think it was that weird.
Anthony, this is being recorded.
I'm well aware.
Do we have any questions?
I don't have any real questions.
I don't think we do. I think people have asked them, but I'm sure we'll open it up for you to ask us questions. But if you have questions for us as junior members, we can give you the dirt, which is that everyone's really nice. And you run into everyone in the hallways way more than you ever did your prior neighbors. And it's really nice. And everyone remembers your child's birthday.
Now we will.
Yes,
um,
I don't think we do.
so one of the
Victoria,
questions,
Weird question away.
okay, one of the questions, Victoria, I'll let you go after if you want to hold your weirdness till the end. One of the questions I asked Jason and Hannah was on the spectrum of what kind of people are you in terms of wanting things the way you want them, when you want them on one side, the other being kind of like easygoing and it'll all work out. And where on that spectrum, are you guys? Type A, or are you kind of in the middle, or what do you like?
I think I think it really depends on what the thing is, if it's, my child is sick and I need medicine for her, I'm going to figure that out right away. And I'm going to do what I need to do. But, I think that it's about choosing, picking your battles and prioritizing, and we all have lots of things going on. And so figuring out, I always like sort of step back and say, what's really important here? And that's kind of my approach. So it's really sort of choosing my battles and prioritizing.
And, if I order French fries and get a salad instead, I rely on Emily to tell them. Yeah, but I don't know. I think,
We get the big.
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're pretty flexible. I think that we just, if something is gonna, physically harm someone, we're gonna do something. But we're amenable. I think we're reasonable people.
That's good to hear. What was the other thing I was going to ask? Well, do you like socially, do you entertain a lot? Do you guys stay up late and love to listen to loud music and smoke cigars? And what's your Emily looks like a cigar smoker. I don't know why.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we have a child, so we like to get our sleep. So we go to sleep, a little bit after she goes to sleep usually. And yeah, we've been very COVID conscious. So we do a lot of our socializing outdoors. JJ Byrne is like our favorite spot. Our front yard, yeah. As is Prospect Park. So, we spend a lot of time there in both of those spots. And, I think my sister and my dad occasionally come to visit, and Ian's family occasionally come to visit.
Yeah, and we like having a couple friends over for dinner from time to time. But
yeah. But no, we're not like blasting music and anything crazy. And certainly not smoking cigars.
You guys don't smoke, right? Or
no.
All right, Victoria, have at it.
No, so I was just going to pick up just a little bit on what Hannah was saying, which is that, this building, it is different than when, say we were renting our apartment on the Upper West Side and we didn't really know our neighbors at all. So you do, come into contact with everyone, and we're like a quirky bunch. It's not always easy having to deal with issues like, oh my God, we have to replace all the pipes in the basement, which we did. Luckily we had some really huge things that we've had to deal with that have already been dealt with in terms of the building, but we've also had a lot of unexpected things, come up as well. So I think, for the most part, it's just about, respecting communal space, not coming in and being like, okay, so I'm moving into the courtyard now. And that is going to be my, I'm setting up my tent and that's going to be my whatever. And then just, my weird question was, which I actually called our co-op lawyer to make sure that we were actually allowed to ask it was, do you actually smoke weed? And the reason we asked Hannah and Jason that is because we know of more than one situation where that was really an issue in a building because the smell, like things really do sort of permeate through the floors in the building. So that's
We
my
don't.
last weird question.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So you're
I don't-
not high right now, is what you're
Well, I
saying.
don't smoke weed, but I use a lot of garlic when I cook.
And I will say that, having lived in the same apartment for 13 years, like we got to know our across the hall neighbors and watched their kids grow up, and they moved out at some point and they still live in Park Slope, and we run into them and we're, Facebook friends with them. And then we have upstairs neighbors who we, how Fifth Avenue is closed on Saturdays, and we'll hang out outside there with them. And that's also why we want to stay in Park Slope, because of the community feeling. So that we've cultivated over the years and that we think is kind of innate in the neighborhood.
And to extend, if I may, on something that Victoria said, we are very much, it's in terms of all the things that have been done or need to be done. We may disagree on little details and this and that. But at the end of the day, from my experience, and it's been all these years, everything that was planned to be done that we needed to do was eventually done. You know what I mean? Some things take a little longer than others, but that's part of the process, and so on and so forth. And then the other thing is the sense of community. And I don't know how you would feel. A lot of us have each other's keys to each other's apartments, which is for obvious reasons, emergencies, picking up mail if we're away, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to mention that, that binds us together, if you will, in many ways as a community, looking out for each other should it really be necessary. Yeah.
And I have Theo's credit card numbers if you ever. That's.
I think
No.
with champion key holders in terms of, and
You're not obligated to give
we're honest folks. So.
or credit card numbers. So it's your turn. It's your turn to ask us whatever. Now that you've heard us for half an hour, you may have changed your minds, but
No, it's I don't know. I don't want to speak for both of us. It's just been nice getting to talk to you all, and I don't have anything specific.
Yeah, I think you answered our questions just about, kind of things in the building that have been, how you all work together, and how it functions. So I feel like you've answered a lot of the questions that I had.
did your inspector tell you anything that raised a flag for you?
Certainly not about the unit. There were a couple things in the basement that we could share with you, just the way I think was a wiring was done or something.
Something like that. I mean,
nothing that seemed, like a concern, but wasn't up to whatever code he was looking at.
One thing I asked people, and you're not lawyers, but have you ever sued anyone?
No.
nope.
And you haven't been sued?
Nope.
Cool. So if you have nothing for us, nothing. Do I have any other questions? No, I don't think I've got anything else. Anyone else have any last minute? Hannah's smiling, so I think she's got something on her mind, but
I don't. I got nothing. That's why I'm smiling. I got nothing. Jason looks like he wants to make a bad joke, so I'm gonna put us back on mute.
Yeah.
But it
Was
was,
this, did you guys, I'm just curious, you don't have to answer this question, but did you put bids on other places and not get them? And
Yeah, we did put one bid on another place, a co-op on President, and didn't get it. But I think it was one of those things where we were very unhappy about it at the time, but then looking at the potential of this place, I think we're very happy that fell through. I'd say that.
and I think we know plenty, as you said, about finances and so forth. But as we look ahead, and there are certain things that, yeah, we'll have to have meetings about future work. Do you have any ambivalence about joining a place that might say, okay, we need you to pay 2 months maintenance this month, and then in 3 months or so, or even shorter period, like, you know what, we actually want to have a bigger reserve, so we're going to ask you to pay double maintenance, if we all agree, of course, as a co-op, that that's the right thing. Do you have any nervousness about that financially?
No.
I mean, what you should keep in mind is over many, many years, we didn't have to add to, you know, our maintenance payments and so forth. In the last year or two, we've had a lot of work. So you're probably fairly, I think they're going to be fairly lucky, because we're hopefully coming to the end of all the expenses that we've had, you know. That's my view.
No
But-
guarantees, right?
No, I'm not.
Never know.
But there've been a lot of work done recently. So we're hoping the building stands solid at this point. You know, so.
Yeah, does anyone else have any other nosy financial questions or innocent morality questions, or anything about culinary? Do you like use a lot of, like Theo's already admitted to garlic? What's your favorite spice, maybe?
What's your baseball team?
It's a big one.
that's a sensitive issue. Jason
Yeah,
almost didn't make it because
Yeah.
he's not a Yankee fan.
This is a Red Sox household. What do you have, guys, with baseball team we should know about?
But I will say the only sport I follow is international track and field.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we want to talk about our favorite steeplechasers, I'm happy to.
This guy.
I gotta do a little research, but I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you think the disqualification of that sprinter was fair?
I was there. I was
Wow.
sitting in the stands right behind him. And no, I don't think it was. I think it was a real freak event. Yeah.
What
I
I don't
agree.
even know what we're talking about.
What's
I
that?
have no idea what you're talking about.
Me neither.
Yeah, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known either, but
Uh-huh.
I've been schooled at this point
Yeah.
in track and field.
Yeah.
Ian's a runner.
Okay, fair
So-
enough.
But one final question from me, Ian and Emily. What you're doing now, we've all, let's face it, we've all gone to your websites and stuff like that. It's incredible. Okay. I think it's really, I'm saying that, I'm not being patronizing. It's just extraordinarily rich. And anyway, what do you see as your next step up, if you will? Okay, because you're obviously still very young people. And how might that impact on where you want to live in the future?
I think both of us in our work rely on it in both a kind of inspiration way, but also in a very real pragmatic way. We rely on being in a place that has a lot of other creative people. And so New York is kind of, it's where that resource is the richest. I constantly am finding talented people to have on the shows I make, and Emily's doing her version of that. So yeah, it actually feels like there's really one place we can live, and it's here.
Because we have, I mean, an instance, which was fine. Paul Auster and Siri Hustvedt lived here. And all of a sudden, they became really, really successful, and they bought on Second Street an entire brownstone. I'm just mentioning that anecdotally.
But they were here for years, Theo.
They were here for years. But then their success allowed them to, or they made the decision to move on, you know, which is fine. Okay, so I'm just,
But they stayed in the neighborhood, Theo, that's the point. It's all about the community.
You're not planning to flip this property after a year.
So,
No, I mean, as you can sort of tell from the fact that I've been in the same apartment for 12 years. And I mean, where I live is so much about, establishing that kind of stability, allows me to be creative in my work. And, I feel like I had a very, very stable upbringing, and I want that for my daughter. So, yeah.
sounds good. Thank you.
We're all for stability here. All right, guys.
So we'll get back to them very soon.
okay.
Yes.
Very nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you all.
Yeah, thanks for doing it on short notice, and we will be in touch.
Okay.
Sounds great.
And if
All
you have
right.
other questions, don't hesitate to ask.
Okay.
All
Very
right,
nice to
thank you,
meet you
guys.
all.
All right,
All right.
Bye.
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 Okay.
Are they really off though, Hannah? Are they off, do you think?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
Think so.
I
They're
think we
supposed to, you tell
trust
me.
them to be off.
yeah. They seem trustworthy.
Okay. Anything that anyone wants to mention right off the bat? Not that we're gonna decide this right here and now, I don't think. But it sounded like John Cashin was definitely on board with them.
Yes, I certainly endorse their joining the co-op.
Yeah.
They seem like really upstanding citizens and
Yes.
nice people, and
We won't hold that against them, though, is what you're saying.
but we may change that in, if they.
You'll
live here-
corrupt them in no short time. Certain of it.
They'll be smoking cigars before we know it.
And worse.
Lots of garlic.
No, I agree. I think they'd be a wonderful, how shall I say, human or whatever addition, to our co-op. In terms of just,
Or zoo.
and just in terms of what they do, their personality and so on. I mean, I found a very good vibe from them.
I
Really,
agree.
and that's why I asked that kind of tough question. I'm famous for doing that, but I really feel that they kind of would be committed. Should we accept them, that they feel that they would be committed to really, wanting to make this their a real home, versus I think what they're in a sense of permanence, which I think is what they're asking for, which is a good thing.
All right, I guess I will ask that, just so we have it in writing, if everyone wants to send me an email when he or she or they are ready to say what they want privately or not, about their application, that would be helpful. And otherwise, I'm gonna have this recording for Joel, and we have other business, of course, to talk about, but we can't do it without James and ideally John Scagnelli. So unless there's anything urgent, I'm gonna move that we end the meeting.
Well, I think there is something urgent, and I think it's the transition of the treasurer's role. And I'm leaving tomorrow for Europe. I won't be back for a couple of weeks, but I think we really have to think about who and what we're going to do and how we're going to transition that. I mean, I don't know when the closing is going to be, but if the closing is October
Right.
1st.
So
We
John,
can
let me just bring you up to speed because obviously you guys aren't here a lot. And so James and I and Victoria and Hannah, to a lesser extent, have been talking about this since we knew James was leaving. And the preliminary idea, which is only an idea, would be for Victoria and me to take on the role of treasurer, whether it's me or her or both or whatever. And perhaps for Hannah or Jason to step into the presidency and handle the sort of legal and other affairs that regard, regulatory and otherwise, but that we not, hand off the finances to the newest entrants and that
All
we
right,
not
okay.
burden the oldest residents with it unless someone is chomping at the bit to be treasurer. That's sort of the thinking right now.
Okay, well, that's good. I just wanted to make sure we had a transition plan so that things didn't fall through the crack, and I missed the payment from the co-op.
No one, you're not going to miss a
I'm only
payment.
joking.
Yeah,
No, I mean, John, I'm sorry, I was, shaking my head like that, but, 'cause it just would make me very nervous to hand over,
Oh, sure,
the
but I
responsibility.
was unaware of the fact that we had a plan, and I just wanted to explore where we were headed and who was going to be receptive to accept that responsibility.
I mean, since we brought it up, does anyone else on the call have thoughts, including Hannah and Jason, of course, because nothing has been decided. It was just,
Yeah, this isn't like a plan set in stone at all. I think it was something that we just started to talk to Jamie about because we knew that, we couldn't just wait until he was gone and then try to figure out, oh, what does he actually, what does he actually do? So, but I think it's not just the treasury, it's spreading out some of the other things, more equally amongst people. So that, it isn't just, I mean, if Theo doesn't want to be the managing agent anymore, it isn't just like you're the managing agent in name, but then you put the paper under Jamie's door and then, he actually does it. Like some of the things need to be spread out more. But it probably just, sometime soon, I guess we need to have a conversation about it. And we're supposed to have another conversation with James. He's not gonna, leave us in the lurch in terms of.
no, and we're not gonna leave things unattended to. And so that is, you're gonna get your payments, the insurance people are gonna get the payments, and Victoria's now had to go through a lot of KYC, if anyone knows that term, dealing with the bank to get her name on as a signatory. And it's not been particularly fun, but it's necessary. So does anyone have any just general thoughts like, I've always wanted to be fill in the blank?
Yeah, if somebody really wants to be the treasurer, please step up. John.
I'm too remote.
I can speak for Jason and I think we would rather take on the president role than the treasurer role at this point.
I was going to ask Ian and Emily if they were good at math.
That was his bad joke
We
that I
have too many writers and journalists in this
Nipped in the
building.
bud. Yeah. So we obviously have to talk more about what it entails, but we're fine with taking on a role. I think if we could choose, we would not be the treasurer at this point. I think we would need a little more treasurer training for that, but we are tentatively fine with that plan. We obviously have to talk about the details of it, but it's fine with us.
So either one of you would be pleased to step in as president, is that correct?
Yeah, or maybe co-presidents. Can our apartment be president?
Yeah, I mean, that would be
I don't
fine
know.
for me if our part, I mean, someone is gonna have to sign documents.
Yeah. So one of us will be the signatory, but we'll probably end up doing the work together. But yes, one of
Right.
us will take on the role. We'll have to play rock, paper, scissors or something and see who wants to
Right.
win
one of you will be the one named in lawsuits and the other.
Right, right, right.
And the same for
I-
us as far as treasury.
Jason likes power, so maybe he wants to. do it.
I will take up the mantle of making questionable jokes in the meetings.
I'm not relinquishing that, pal.
It's too ingrained, Anthony.
But I mean, everything is up for grabs. I mean, Joel, if you said like, I'm sick of,
Neither
Yeah.
Joel or I would be candidates.
no, I don't mean for treasurer, but if he wants to give up the note taking, like, you know, there's other people here now. So
Do we want to take on the part of the job?
if we're gonna scramble the eggs, then we can, you know, talk about anything and everything.
Well, let's wait for the new participants to be part of the organization and see their willingness to take on responsibility, and then maybe Joel can relinquish the secretarial duties.
If he so desires.
If he wants to.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can discuss all of that. Mhm.
Okay, cool. Anyone else have any other urgent biz before we adjourn?
Joel, we hope you feel better.
That
Thank
is,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Let us know if you need anything.
Everybody, yeah.
Thanks.
No, my only request, Anthony, is that at a time that's convenient, that you call a co-op meeting to go over the, you know, those pragmatic issues of the basement, painting, and et cetera.
Right. And as you probably saw in my other email, I think, and it's agreed, unless anyone here objects, that we're going to do a assessment of 1 month for September.
right.
It's necessary. There's no way around it. I mean,
It's fine with us.
That's
Okey
fine.
doke.
That's fine.
Okay, you guys, thanks a lot, and we will see you in the hallway.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Bye,
Joel,
guys.
and
Thanks,
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks a lot.
everybody.
Good night, all.
Take care.
Bye.